In July 2025, Ho Chi Minh City absorbed 2 neighboring provinces to form a massive new administrative zone, spanning nearly 7,000 square kilometers. Almost overnight, the borders shifted to encompass a unified region of over 14 million people, combining an urban core, a dense manufacturing belt, and a long stretch of coastline. The government's blueprint for this new territory is backed by $24 billion in flagship infrastructure, designed to engineer a globally competitive megacity. To manage a project of this scale, the state erased the traditional district-level government entirely, collapsing dozens of local districts into a streamlined 2-tier system controlled directly by a central municipal core. This territorial shift essentially tests whether a centralized municipal core can manage the intricate social and ecological realities of 3 formerly separate provinces under one set of rules. By removing the middle layer of government, 168 small local commune units are now directly responsible for complex zoning and millions of residents, largely without the administrative safety net of the district level. You can see the strain in the newly annexed Northwest. This is the Bin Duong Industrial Belt, an enormous manufacturing corridor driving the region's export economy. This chart shows how the area's soaring economic output compares to the living conditions of the workforce. Over 92% of the migrant households in this belt rent their homes, and more than half live in spaces smaller than 6 square meters per person. Despite state attempts to build social housing, property ownership among these workers has flatlined at just 9%. Municipal housing initiatives have consistently failed to keep up with the actual demand from the workforce. The region's celebrated macroeconomic growth relies on a system of precarious labor reproduction to keep the industrial engine running. Meanwhile, to the southeast, the city's planners are looking toward the sea, reorienting the metropolitan layout to establish a new coastal frontier. This area is the target of massive capital investment, anchored by an international transshipment port and nearly 3,000 hectares of sea reclamation land meant for luxury tourism. Directly alongside these planned industrial footprints sits the Con Geo Biosphere Reserve, a 75,000-hectare network of mangrove forests that filters the region's water and buffers it against coastal erosion. The new ports and real estate grids intersect directly with the reserve's buffer zones. Expanding into this area threatens to bulldoze the region's ecological lungs and disrupt local aquaculture. This topographic map shows the vulnerability of the expanded territory. 60% of the newly urbanized footprint sits less than 1.5 meters above mean sea level. At the same time, the ground underneath the densest commercial sectors is physically sinking by up to 8 centimeters a year, a velocity that vastly outpaces global sea level rise. While the government builds large-scale ring dikes, these projects are frequently delayed. In the interim, residents rely on their own makeshift strategies, manually elevating foundations and wading through flooded streets to reach work. By replacing the Can-Go biosphere with concrete logistics hubs, the master plan is removing the city's natural flood buffer exactly as the lowland terrain sinks further into the delta. This dynamic makes Ho Chi Minh City a critical test case for other rapidly expanding coastal hubs across Southeast Asia, facing similar climate pressures. Across the region, ambitious spatial visions for megacities consistently outpace the institutional capacity required to protect the vulnerable populations living within those new borders. Ho Chi Minh City does have one structural advantage: total administrative consolidation. But simply drawing a larger border doesn't resolve deep conflicts over land rights, housing, and ecology. To manage these environmental and social pressures, local experts are pushing for a special urban law that would give the region the fiscal autonomy needed to fund its own climate governance and infrastructure. Under the current fiscal constraints, this centralized administrative system effectively accelerates the conversion of the delta's remaining wetlands into industrial concrete and logistics corridors. If the state cannot realign its priorities to respect the delta's ecological limits, this mega-merger will not solve the region's climate risks. It will ensure the city sinks at a magnitude the region has never experienced.